Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We rented movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained best pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the feeling bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweety are here to say it's the Large Marge sent us podcast. Hey, hey.
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Sent Us podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about movies that shaped their childhood. I am Sweetie.
And I'm Sweetie.
And we're doing a mini bonus mini app.
This meeting of the Midnight Society has come to order. Wait, do they usually open it? No. I call this story.
No, by, how'd you say it?
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Bonus episode. Do, do,
That was not polished. We should have done that so much better. We should have planned it out. Yeah, guys, we did mini app on a TV show. What?
Whoa.
It's our first one, right?
Yeah.
So, if y'all remember, Nick at Night. What are your fond memories of Nick at Night?
Wait, Nick at Night was old shows.
What? SNICK. What was your favorite episode of SNICK? Do you know that Nick at Night now is like Full House and Family Matters?
It's very
and
depressing,
shit? Yeah.
yes.
That's
No, but
fucked
yes,
up.
SNICK, I remember, like, started off with some...
Schnick.
I think it started at 8 or 7?
8.
8.
So it was 8:30,
Was like
8:30, 9, 9,
still
9:30,
appropriate
9:30,
children
10
things.
was Roundhouse.
Yeah,
That was
I
the
know.
most- that was the adult.
Yeah. And which I did not understand as a child. And I was
So
like, what is
dumb.
this? Like, why are
Down
they...
at the Roundhouse, don't
Ooh.
need an invitation.
But what-
Down at the Roundhouse.
But what did they do at the Roundhouse?
It was like little skits, and then
So it was like
musical
SNL
numbers
and then
with-
plus dancing.
but more like musical numbers and dancing. Yeah,
Huh.
so it was like theater SNL, like Broadway
Weird.
SNL.
Huh. Weird. Yeah, I didn't get it at
it
all.
was not my
But I
favorite.
remember one night we were in the basement. We had a furnished basement. I don't know if you remember this story. Well, let me know if you do. Mother Carol was sewing at her sewing machine. We were in the basement. We were watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? It was the episode with Zebo the Clown.
Mm-hmm.
I freaked out. Mom yelled at you because you were watching it when I was watching it. And she was
What?
like,
'Cause you were
why'd you
too
let her
young?
watch this? Yeah, she was like very upset that,
Wow.
like
Oops.
I was watching it. And I mean, it scared the shit out of me, but I loved it so much. I love the show so
What did
much.
SNICK stand for? Oh, Saturday?
Saturday night,
Because just
Nickelodeon.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
Oh, this makes sense now. Yeah, so that like the big what were like the 8 to 8:30 show cartoons?
Yeah, I think it was like Rugrats
Yeah,
or
okay.
something. It wasn't. Yeah, and then it,
Oh, no,
like,
no, was it all
progressively-
that?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, could have been.
All that.
This is all that. This is all that.
So anyway,
Ren and
so-
Stimpy maybe. I don't.
Are maybe what?
Ren and Stimpy maybe.
Oh no, wasn't it like Alex Mack
Oh,
was one of the times,
Yeah.
or like what was the Alex Wu? Do you remember that one?
Shelby Woo.
Shelby Wu,
Good one.
where she was like an amateur detective.
Yeah, that was cute.
cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Are You Afraid of the Dark? If you remember, had the 9 to 9:30 slot, and it was basically ghost stories, creepy
Scary
stories,
ones, yeah.
scary stories, not just
Well,
ghosts,
well,
creepy
But yes,
stories.
creepy, spooky.
So the premise was there was this midnight society, and it always starts with these kids like coming into the woods. They have this campfire set up, and the kids take turns telling these stories. So they like have this bag of magic powder, and
I think
they
it's just regular sand.
yeah sand, and they throw it on the fire, and they say, like we said, submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I
You
call
just,
this
like-
story blah blah.
Blah, blah, yeah. Does anyone get tired? Like midnight is late.
That is late. Well, I don't
and
know.
I
But
guess
you're
when you're a kid, you're up and out. I don't know.
we stayed up late when we were little kids. You have a lot of
Yeah.
energy, especially when you're in high school.
That's
I mean,
true.
these were like kind of late middle schoolers.
Scary
high
though. I mean,
schoolers,
like
I would
everybody
say.
had to come alone to the woods, and then you left.
Seems like a lot of fun,
It
though.
was scary. But really, like amateur group of creative writers, basically.
Yeah.
Like I'm very impressed. They all came up with those stories, even though they didn't. It was a writer's room.
Right.
But if you pretend that they were real people, like those are some pretty impressive stories to just make up and then tell. So props to the Midnight Society. They were doing great. They were doing great work.
Wonder who they ended up what they ended up being.
I don't know. Yeah, well, who knows? We'll never know.
Novelists.
So tonight, Sweetie and I decided to each pick an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark that stuck with us. Not necessarily our favorite one, but maybe just one that we reminds us fondly of watching.
one
Are You Afraid
that
of the Dark
stood
that
out in our mind.
Stood out. Yep. So we each picked one. So I'll go first. I picked The Tale of the Doll Maker, which is one of the not scary ones, but like the creepy ones. We both kind of picked creepy. We both stayed away from like the super scary ones that went for creepy. But this one centered around this girl, Melissa, who's a terrible actress. And she is staying at her aunt and uncle's house for the weekend or something. She's excited because her friend lives next door named Susan. So she's excited she gets to go and play with Susan. However, when she gets there, she finds out that the Hendersons have moved away. And she's real sad about it. And she's like, what the hell am I going to do now? I guess I have to go to bingo with old Aunt whatever and Uncle Pete. Like, great. I'm so excited.
Sally.
Aunt Sally. So she's not thrilled. Soon she finds out that the Hendersons didn't just move away. They moved away because Susan went missing and they were so heartbroken that they had to leave. Turns out the Mrs. Henderson apparently thought that the house had something to do with Susan's disappearance. So Melissa's ears are kind of perked. She sees the curtains kind of blow in the house, in the Henderson's house. She goes in to investigate. She sees a dollhouse in the attic. Soups creeps. They left everything in their house. There's this weird dollhouse that's like an exact replica of their house. She sees a keyhole light up on the dollhouse, and then notices it's coming from the door in the attic, which looks like a dollhouse door. She opens it and sees a hallway, and she sees her friend Susan walking around in this like billowy pink dress / pajama set thing. I'm not 100% on that, but it's weird. She's like, Susan, it's me. And her friend Susan's like, looks weird. And she's like, Melissa?
Really stiff and
yeah,
white
real stiff.
skin.
So she's about to follow her, and Uncle Pete stops her because apparently that door actually goes outside. So she would have just fallen to her death, but not really, because it was really like the passageway into the dollhouse. So Melissa goes back to the dollhouse because she's convinced that Susan's there, and thank God, thank God for all these kids in these in these TV shows.
She had a lot of gumption.
That thwarted adults and were like, no, you're wrong. Yeah. It's not my imagination.
Spitfire.
Yeah, if it wasn't for her, Susan would have never been found. So she goes back, gets a ball of twine, like ties it to the doorknob, and then so she can find her way out because she's smart. She's smart. She's a bad actress, but she's smart. So she finds Susan, realizes that they're inside the dollhouse actually, and her Aunt Sally walks around the attic and is like, Melissa, where are you? Like big giant voice, like don don don, and Susan's like, it's no use, she won't hear you. They can't hear us. And then you get a better look at her, and she's totally turned into a doll, essentially. It's really creepy. So, like, half of her face is China-esque.
Her hands
are China. Melissa freaks out and is like, we have to get out of here. So she figures out that the way to get out of the dollhouse is if you go out the dollhouse attic, which will set you free, I guess. And Susan, meanwhile, is like, my hand comes off. And she takes out her hand. And this is I think this is the part that always stuck with me the most, is that she can take her hand out like a China doll. Like, a China doll's hands always would like fall off or whatever. Like she could take her hand out and was like, because she's presumably been a doll since her aunt said last winter, which if it's fall, it seemed like fall. That's a slow present day.
It's a slow moving creep to be.
But when Melissa was in the dollhouse, her hands start turning white like immediately. So
they didn't stiff it up or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like
Plot hole.
Yeah, it seems like a plot hole. So she gets Susan, takes her. They walk up to the attic. They open the door. It goes out into the front yard. They're like, oh, shit, we just got to jump. They jump, and they're back to normal. Susan's back to normal. Everything's fine. They burn the dollhouse. Dollhouse is done. Everything's great. So my only question...
I got a couple questions.
Okay, yeah. Well, first, I guess a lot of episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark have this theme in it where it's kind of an unexplainable entity that is causing the bad.
Who built that dollhouse?
Right.
Why did it contain this mysterious passageway, or the house contained a passageway into the dollhouse? Like, no explanation of like where that came
it's really
from.
not important. I mean, it's a 20-minute or whatever show.
No,
we don't have time. Would have loved to know who built that, if they were some kind of evil person, like trapping people to get dolls for their
Was it
own
like
good?
The Shining, sort of like, The Shining, it's like an evil hotel where there's like a house with evil in it. It's just trying to like suck life in, like out from the outside in.
Probably.
Was it that kind of a thing?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
just my thought.
That would have been cool if it was extended to a feature film. I get it. These are really, really short. You forget, like, it's great because kids have little, their attention span's short. So these are like perfect little capsule scary episodes that just tell all you need to know, enough to get scared, and then it's over. Yeah. And to be resolved. So they always resolve kind of nicely, I remember.
Yeah. Well, not always.
Yeah, not
a
always,
few
but
of them
some
had
of them.
the twist ending at the end where I remember the Super Specs one.
Yeah.
They're like in the psychic shop and they're like trying to get rid of like the demons, and then you think it's over, but then you realize they're like stuck in the crystal ball and they're like doomed forever.
I prefer more of those because that's kind of cool.
Ugh.
Love those.
Kinda
So my
traumatized me.
main question was, like, why didn't Susan fucking figure that out? It was her house.
Oh yeah, and she was in there for like 5 years.
Duh.
And she's the one that was like, "It's the attic."
Yeah.
Like, I guess it was too late by the time she couldn't like get up there herself.
Like, A, it was her house. B, she had all the time in the world.
Yeah.
C, like, that girl comes in there and 2 seconds later, this is the whatever's house. This is where this is. And I know behind this, there's a door. Like, hello. And for, like, she couldn't move that wardrobe bureau thing because she had the China hands.
Yeah.
So that's why she, like, needed someone's
Right.
help.
She could have
But
figured it out
still,
before she got the
why
China
was she
hands.
there for a year?
Also, this is always my question in like movies and everything in general. Why do bad people like create a way for you to get out of things? Like, why is there always like one loophole that like,
Finds a way.
I don't know. Like, if I was the evil doll maker, I'd be like, there's no way out of this house once you get inside. Like, if there's a way to get out, what's the point? Everyone's just gonna fucking get out. So whatever. That's just my beef. But yeah, I still enjoyed this episode just for like it's just such a cool story.
Yeah, good story.
That the girl who tells this one, whose name is
Kiki. That sounds
Kiki.
right.
She always had like the cool kind of creepy, not necessarily scary, but like creepy ones. I think she did the Hungry Hounds one
cool.
too, or the Watcher in the Woods. Yeah. So she always had these kinds of themed ones. So I enjoyed it. But that was my episode. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I liked it. What else did I say here? Oh, I want to talk a little bit about dollhouses as we're talking about them. Remember that dollhouse I had that was with the animals instead of people?
It was like a full house,
What?
like a big house.
It was like a...
Oh, you always talk about
Yeah.
this, but I think it was before like I had memories.
Okay. So I had this awesome dollhouse, really the only dollhouse I had ever. I was like a super girly girl who would have loved that. And I got it, and it was called something. You can Google it and look it up. Anyway, so it was like this cute little house with like this little skylight, this red roof, like chimney, and it had 4 rooms, and you bought little animals to put inside. So it wasn't like a people dollhouse. It was like little animals. So you had like the little mom, the dad, and then like the kids. And I remember I had like a little kitchen, and we had like little beds upstairs in the room.
Sounds really cute.
And it was so cute. I
would've
loved
loved it.
playing with it.
I would have loved it. I didn't have anything cool like that.
Yeah.
I had Polly
I don't
Pockets.
know where it
That's
went. It like seems to have. I only remember being in my life for like a year.
Was it when you were was it when you lived in
No,
Sturby-
no. I got it for Christmas one year, I think. Yeah. So that was my only experience at the dollhouse. I feel like I would go to some other like girls' houses and be like, go straight to the dollhouse, like beeline to the
But
dollhouses.
dollhouses are like not so the classic one with like the china, like that's not, you play with those. I'm confused.
But usually they would you would like swap out. You wouldn't use those kind of dolls in the house. You just like the little furniture and everything like that.
I guess.
Because the china was like meh.
Yeah.
And then like there's like Barbie doll houses, like the Barbie dream house. Do you ever know people who had that with like an elevator?
No.
That shit was sick.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't. My
Oh,
friend
man.
Kim had all the cool toys,
Yeah.
but I don't think she had the dream house. But yeah,
My
we
friend
mostly just
Catherine
played
had the
with
Barbie
Barbies.
dream house. Oh my
Oh,
god.
man.
And the convertible.
Ugh, we had the
We
we
had-
had
we had
a
that.
convertible. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was the convertible, but
That one was pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, this was like the hot pink one.
I don't know. At some point, I was just like, I'm just gonna use Barbies to like pretend that they have sex all the time, and like that's what you do
Yeah,
when
we
you
did
when
soap
you have
operas with
dolls.
them.
Yeah. So whatever.
But yeah.
But
good
yeah,
app.
good eps. Okay, your turn.
So the one I picked was The Tale of Locker 22. So much like Sweetie's, this is more like, I like the creepy ghost story kind of ones. And this one has a cool, like, almost, again, time travel sort of stuff to it.
Again, they don't know that we just watched.
Secret. We just did a movie about time travel before we recorded this. Okay, so The Tale of Locker 22 starts with a transfer student from Paris. Her parents just moved here to the United States on business. No idea where they are in the United States. They just are like, you know, she has like a slight accent, but like it's good English. Julie, her name is Julie. She gets her locker, and the school is like so crowded with like all these kids. Her locker is like in the boonies in terms of lockers, like far away from everyone. This weird school has like graffiti over all of the lockers,
not
even in the
well-maintained.
main section of the school. It's like kind of fucked
Yeah.
up. Like, wash your lockers. Hello. So anyway, Julie goes to her locker and there's this like graffiti all over it, but kind of like washed off. So she's like putting her stuff away, and this girl like appears behind her dressed like an old hippie. So she has like beads around her hair, sort of like long.
And not
straight hair.
old hippie.
Not old. Sorry. Not an old hippie. She's like a high schooler, but is dressed like a hippie. And she's like, "What do you like? Who are you? What do you want?" Disappears. Julie's having a tough time in school. She's these two guys who are like in her science class. So she like breaks. There's this like, I don't know if you remember this from science class, when you have to pipette things, and like to suck up the liquid, you would have to like use your own suction to suck it up.
It seems like a dumb,
Super dangerous, right?
thing. Yeah.
So she does that and then kind of gets freaked out because it's like coming too close to her lips and like hits something. And anyway, a beaker falls on the ground. It breaks, blah, blah, blah. People make fun of her. So these bullies start picking on her. Like, what the fuck, bullies?
Yeah.
Like, go do something else.
I don't know when it became cool to make fun of the pretty transfer
Seriously,
student. Like,
she was
weird.
She was very pretty and a cool girl, and she was from France. I mean, kind of awesome.
So weird.
So they basically are harassing her for the next couple of days, and she's kind of like, "Fuck this! I miss my home." But this like thing, every time she goes to her locker, this hippie girl like appears. So she's there one time, and the hippie girl appears, but then disappears and leaves this beaded necklace. And she's like, "Whoa, what's this?" Puts on the necklace, and she's immediately transformed into 1968. It's hippie time. She's in the same high school, but everyone is dressed like flower people. Hippies, whatever you call it, those like weird poncho things that came back in the 90s, those like weird woven Mexican blanket like sweaters with the hoods. So weird. And like headbands and stuff, and everyone is calling her Candy, and she's like, "Who's Candy? Where am I?" Blah, blah, blah. Finally figures it out. So she has this like little buddy at this point, this kid who's like her one friend who kind of stands up for her and kind of I think has a crush on her, let's say.
Sure. She's pretty, like we said.
Yeah. So she finally figures it out with him. She puts on, every time she puts on the necklace, she gets transferred back into 1968. And she's become, when she puts on the necklace, the girl who had her locker, who was this girl named Candy Warren. So they find out that Candy Warren, because they look her up in the yearbook, and they find out that she had died that year, so in 1968. They like ask around to old teachers who has been teaching at that school forever, and they find out that she died in a chemistry accident. So every time Julie goes back in time, this guy who is the chemistry teacher, who actually becomes the principal. So 30 years later, once they're in like present day, is the principal. So they know him as Mr. What's his name?
I keep wanting to say Strickland. But that's
yeah,
Back to the Future.
Some like harsh name.
Strath.
So he was the chemistry teacher, and like every time Julia goes back, he's like, Miss Warren, like you need to finish your chemistry project or whatever. So she like goes to the lab finally. Her friend finds out that Candy, the ghost, had died in an explosion in the chemistry lab that year. So her friend, why are you laughing at me?
You already said that.
Shit. This is a complicated one. So anyway,
but he finds out that it was like what she's gone back to do. If he doesn't find her, she'll die.
She'll die
So
too.
that's why he's freaked out.
Yeah.
He's like, he needs to rescue her.
Yeah.
Basically.
So he goes back, and Julie has already gone like back in time. So Candy comes to him and is able to send him back in time too. Candy the ghost. And luckily, Julie is like horrible at chemistry and cannot figure out how to light the fucking Bunsen burner.
Pause. Because so she just gets like plopped down into the. She's just like, yeah, I guess I'll do this girl's chemistry test from 1968. Doesn't know anything about this, what the project is, has no idea. The guy's like, you have to determine the components of this chemical. Yeah, like
a melting point.
Who would know? Like, please, tough stuff.
Yeah. So the Bunsen burner cord, if you remember like old high school chemistry, there were like these two gas things in the lab, and you would like hook your two. It wasn't like a wire. It was like
the ones we had, I think, were already like hooked up.
No, there was
I
like
don't
a
think you
it
had
was
to
like a
connect
tube of like a. What was that called?
Copper.
No, I don't know. It was
Copper
like a
wire?
tube you would like hook into these things, and they were like jets, and you like turn on the gas, and like they would connect that. Then you would connect that to your Bunsen burner.
Fallopian tube.
So she's trying to like find all these like her little like spark thinger doesn't work. She tries matches, that doesn't work. So she goes and like lights a candle and brings it in. The same time her friend like rounds the corner, is like, don't light that, like takes his fire extinguisher and then shows her like the frayed cords of the thing would have connected the Bunsen burner to the gas. So she had like lit that, the thing would have exploded, she would have died too, which is exactly how Candy died. He yells at the teacher. He's like, why don't you check your equipment? Like totally like gives him a talking to. It's kind of an awesome scene. And like, dude, she could have died, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh yeah. Like, he's like, maybe you should get a new job. So then they get transported into present day after this whole thing. And they're at the locker and they're like, wow, like that was so great. Like we saved Candy or whatever. Then this new vice principal comes up. And the old vice principal was the chemistry teacher who like caused the death of Candy. He's no longer there, obviously. Hopefully, like quit teaching after he almost kills somebody.
For some reason, I thought he was the janitor. Like I had flashbacks of him being the janitor, but I guess not. Yeah.
So then the new vice principal is Candy
Oh my
Warren.
God.
So she didn't die. So sort of like alternate 19, whatever year this is. And she lived, didn't die in that chemistry accident, and is now the vice principal. So it's like 30 years later of the school. And she's like, oh, wow, oh, your that locker used to stick for me, too. And they put it all together as she was the one who had locker 22. So
I can't believe ghosts can like rewrite their history now.
I don't think
It's
they can.
very.
Well, that's why I was like, I was kind of thrown. I was like, oh, wait, I do like remember that part. But I was like, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Can't like not
Ghosts
die.
are real, but they cannot take you back in time and have you rewrite their history.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's still cool. It's still super cool.
Because I thought it was like, oh, that would like release her from being a ghost in the school.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Because I
Not,
was
like,
like, why
be
does she keep
alive.
wanting her to do this? Does she want her to die too?
Yeah.
I was like confused about it.
And she doesn't talk or anything.
Yeah,
so
so
you
it's
don't
not like
know
she's very
anything.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. God, Candy. God.
Candy, come on.
Moonchild. What is it?
Wait, what? That's
Moon
Bastion's
goddess?
mom.
No, remember her friend's like, sorry, I
know. I didn't
moon
hear what she
goddess?
said. I was concerned by her yellow teeth. Her friend's yellow teeth.
Yeah, her friend did have yellow teeth.
What? Like, why is everyone a hippie? I feel like
What do you mean?
that's like false. Not everyone
I
dressed
know.
as a
Oh,
hippie
definitely
in the
not.
60s.
No, there were some squares.
Or just like normal people. Like, I feel like that was, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I want to go back in time and see. I want to be
maybe
Candy.
if you had a candy necklace,
I want-
and not a
Candy
candy
necklace.
No, but not a candy necklace, but a necklace from Candy the Ghost. You would know.
I would love it. I think the hippie generation would have been pretty cool to be in. I'm not going to lie. Sure. I would have bombed off to hate Asbury and kind of wandered the streets and been a
I'm surprised
groupie
that
on
Candy
cool
wound
bands.
up as a principal
Yeah.
if she was a flower child. I don't know.
But she doesn't know that they saved her, huh?
Right. So that's the one. That's the sad thing. It's like, oh, we have this history,
Yeah.
but you'll never know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways, Good ones.
Yeah.
So this is like, we thought it'd be cool to do some Are You Afraid of the Dark? So we did really love these. Our first Sweetie here became a horror movie creep aficionado.
Mostly probably because of this.
Yeah, it was just an inspiration for
It's
you.
just such a cool thing that that this was available for children.
It was just the right amount of spook too.
Yeah, and some things were legitimately scary, like toned down, sure, dialed back, no gore or whatever, but it was still very scary, and it was just such a cool thing that children had that to watch, because I don't think you would find something like this now on TV for kids.
Right.
I feel like it's
Who
a
knows
lost.
what's on Nickelodeon?
It's a
these
lost
days?
art. Oh, please! It's all like cartoons and like Doc McStuffins.
I don't know.
I
Just
don't
know.
So, question for you:
Yeah.
What is the scariest part of the theme song for
I
you?
was just gonna ask you that.
Okay, I knew it because the second. So when we started watching the second
saw
episode,
me
and
writing down?
we both grabbed our pens and started writing down, and I was like, I bet she's writing down the same question that I have.
I'm gonna guess yours.
What?
Is yours the clown in the attic?
I mean, when I was little, yes.
okay.
Going back now, it's definitely the rocky old foggy boat.
That's what mine is now. Oh my god.
I guess we have different fears. But yeah, I wrote down all the things. I was like, rocky old foggy boat, creepy clown in the attic, swings on a windy night.
Wait, what did I do? I wrote, what did I? Oh, scariest part of credits. Lone boat? Question mark.
It's something about it.
I
It's like,
know.
is there a ghost sailor
What
in
about
that
like
boat?
the kids laughing?
Oh yeah, and it's funny because that's like what's that? Like a stock sound bite. If you pay attention like that, the kids' laughter thing is one of those things that you can use. You'll see it. You'll hear it in everything, like TV shows, movies, video games.
Ugh.
It was in Diddy Kong Racing. It's just like this little kid. It's just
Wow.
kids laughing, but the way that they use it in that opening credit
Yeah.
scene makes it creepy. But yeah, that is creepy. And like the match and the footsteps, man.
Yeah, no, that lone
Well
boat.
done.
I don't know what's going on in that little
It's
harbor.
because it's on that first
landing
note.
or whatever.
Because it's on the
Ugh.
first note of the song where it's like,
Yeah, it's like a low creek.
I'd like to share with everyone that Sweetie kept singing the Zoltar music instead of the Are You Afraid of the Dark theme. So
Still can't do it.
yeah,
Dun, dun, dun.
Zoltar.
Dun, dun, dun. They're similar.
That's Zoltar. This meeting of the Midnight Society is over. I forget what they say. Also, would like to share with the listeners that Sweetie had a crush on Gary, the gentleman with the glasses.
He's someone I totally would end up dating now. I guess he was kind of old looking. Was he
Yeah.
supposed to be like the oldest member of that group?
Probably. He's
Yeah.
probably the founding member.
Yeah. And the girl who told my story, the Locker 22 one, if anyone remembers that they did a TV show out of Clueless the movie, she was Cher.
This was her. Yeah, she had some good ones too. Her and
Yeah.
the Kiki girl are definitely my favorite, I think, storytellers. So it's
What did
fitting.
the little kid tell? Any good ones?
I remember he had initiation one time. He
Yeah,
had to
he's
tell the
so-
story.
Why is he in the Midnight Society? Just
He's Gary's brother.
oh, he is? Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And then the members rotate, and then by the whatever the last seasons were, there's all like weird people I'd never seen before. I was like, who are these people?
How many seasons were there?
A lot, like 9,
Whoa.
8.
Yeah, we were like asking ourselves like when this started.
Didn't look it up.
I know. I'm just in
She's
real
looking it
quick
up right now. She's looking it up. I'll just sing the theme song. So.
1990
Wow.
to 2000, so it's 10 years old.
Oh, okay. So, well, that was season 1. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Cool.
91 episodes. Wow, they couldn't like do it. So the first one was the Tale of the Phantom Cab.
I hate that one.
Okay,
That's the one where they there's
that
a
was
riddle.
the first one.
Yeah,
but
I know.
then the next one wasn't until 92.
Because maybe it's the pilot and you have to wait a while. I hate that cab one. It's the one with that guy who's in like all the episodes.
The magician one. Like
No.
Gerardo?
That's Sardo.
Sardo.
This guy was the one. Remember the one with Nev Campbell, where she works at a restaurant and like the soup is like super popular and apparently it's made from fear. And they like get locked in a room and then their biggest fear like makes them scream or whatever. and
Okay,
then this
so the
little
first
drip-
season have Tale of Laughing in the Dark, The Lonely
Yep, that's
Ghost,
the Zebo the Clown one. Was the Laughing in the Dark.
Twisted Claw, Hungry Hounds, Super Specs,
Oh, I love the super Specs.
Captured Souls. Is that the
I think
soup
it's
one?
no, it's a photo.
Oh, yeah.
There's like a
Nightly
camera.
Neighbors,
Vampires.
Sorcerer's Apprentice, Jake and the Leprechaun, Tale of the Dark Music, Tale of the Prom Queen. I
Prom
don't
Queen's
remember
good. That one's really good.
Tale of the Pinball Wizard.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like stuck in the mall.
And
like
this
a pinball
also
machine.
reminds me of Erie, Indiana. Remember that show?
Oh my god, I love that show.
Didn't last very long.
No, but yeah,
So
that
good.
came back on Netflix not too long ago, and I watched our favorite episode, the
Tupperware.
Forever Wear one. So yeah, so good. I just love that creepy shit. I love it. So good.
So good.
But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this little bonus episode
Bonus
for
ep.
you.
Sure, you watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? Let us know what your favorite
Yeah, let us know what
episodes
your
were.
thoughts. Follow us on Twitter at The Sweetie Club and on Instagram at Large Marge Santos. Stay spooky. This meeting of the Midnight Society. I wish I forget. I don't remember
Is
what
now
Gary says.
adjourned.
I don't think that's language, but well, whatever. We're improvising. Okay, bye.